This is part 3 in this YouTube series where I am working to convert this RPG game into this pseudo 3D racing game. In the last episode, I refactored the scene management package and simplified the game update method. The focus of this episode will be improving the pause screen by adding a translucent overlay over the current game screen. This not only makes the pause screen look nice, but also shows how you can pass things between scenes when desired. Currently, the game runs and there is an opening screen, the game screen, and then the pause screen is just a green background. First, I am going to follow a pattern I find useful, which is to break the update and draw methods into their own files. This helps separate the logic and makes it easier to make changes. To do that, I just copy the draw method into the new file, and I do the same for the update method. In pause scene draw.go, I am deleting everything currently in the draw method since I am replacing the logic. First, if the scene's freeze frame image is not nil, then we want to draw that image. Then, we want to draw the pause text, which is written on a translucent overlay. This will darken the screen a bit while still allowing the user to see the paused game state. I will create a new method for this. I will create a new Ebitengine image of the same size as the screen resolution. I will fill that image with black and make it slightly transparent with the alpha channel. Then, I just need to draw that image to the screen. Remember, I already drew the freeze frame of the game state above, and this new image will be drawn on top of that. Next, I define the string of text I want to appear when the game is paused. I want to use version 2 of the text package from Ebitengine, which works like other Ebitengine methods by using draw options. If you are doing this, make sure you are using version 2. Note that you may need to go get it. To start, I want the pause text in the center of the screen, so I am just going to set both alignments to be centered. I am going to reset the geomatrix to clear any previous settings, and then I need to call translate to move the text to the center of the screen, which is just the screen width divided by 2, and the screen height divided by 2. To draw text, 4 arguments are needed: the screen, the string to print, the font, and the text options I just crafted above. The text v2 package needs a version 2 text.face compatible type, so if you want to use those existing fonts from the Ebitengine repo, make sure they are from version 2. For this game, I want to load my own custom font, so I am just going to make one called Common Font Face. In my Assets, Fonts directory, I have my own font I want to use, so I am going to make a fonts.go file and write some code to load it in. This function will just be called load font. It accepts 2 arguments, a byte slice, which will be the actual font, and a size for it. It needs to return a text.face to be compatible with the text v2 package, and it may return an error. You could read this from a file path using the OS package, but I want to embed my font in the game so it is always available, so I am going to use the TrueType parse method to read a byte slice containing my font. This is also another package you may need to go get. Next, I need to create a new Golang font from the parsed font, giving it some options like a font size and the standard 72 dpi. The last step is to convert it to a text v2.face and return it. To include my font in my binary, I need to use the embed package, so I will import that. To embed the font, I use this go embed syntax with the relative path to the font file. The variable directly beneath this statement is where it will be assigned, and should be of type byte slice. I want other packages in my game to be able to use this font, so I am making a public variable for it. Next, I need to create a public init function to load the font when the game is built. To do that, I just call my load font function and assign its returned values to my public variable. Now, that variable will be available in my pause scene package when this function is called. Just make sure the import path is correct if it is auto-populated for you. In order to load the font, I need to call that init function, which will fit perfectly in this game init.go file I already have. Now, if I run the game, you will see it is loading my font and it appears when I pause the game. If you recall, I added a translucent screen and a freeze frame, which are not currently appearing. This is because in a previous episode, I only stubbed out the pause check function. Over in my game update.go file, I just need a few more lines of code to implement this. If the next scene is the pause scene, create a new image of the current frame. We can still draw this frame, and then pass this image to the pause scene using the set freeze frame method. Now, if you run the game and pause it, you get this nice looking pause screen where you can see that the action in the game is immediately paused. In the next episode, I will add sound effects and music to this pause screen, which will also lay the groundwork for adding other music and sound effects. If you are looking at this code in the GitHub repo, I did not include the font file I used due to licensing, but I left some commented out code in case you want to try it. I used some of the example Ebitengine font, which just looks different but is functionally the same. We are still a little ways off from setting up the actual game, but all of this upfront work will make the code base more flexible and easy to maintain.